everybody. This is Henry Varela with Season 2, Episode 3 of the ID My Athlete podcast. And today we have with us Jaliyah JJ Clark out of Chula Vista, California. How are you doing today, JJ?
Yeah.
I'm doing well, thank you. Just to give everybody a little bit of idea about JJ, JJ is an outstanding goalkeeper. JJ is out of California, but she spent the last, and correct me if I'm wrong, JJ, was it 2 years at IMG?
Yes.
Right. So playing in California where soccer is very tough, and then heading on over to IMG for 2 years. And now she's back in California where she's finishing up her senior year on a lot that we're going to talk about. But we're very excited to have you with us today, JJ. How are you doing? How's the weather out there in California?
It's pretty nice outside. It's a little hot here right now, but it's really good weather. Nice and sunny.
Awesome. No, that's good to hear. And no, thank you once again for joining us. We're very excited to talk to you. And JJ, like I just mentioned, right now you're in California. But over the last couple years, you and your family decided to, make that jump from, playing in California where there's a lot of solid soccer, a lot of good players where you probably would have been fine. You were a top, 150 player by top drawer, as a goalkeeper. You're doing what you need to do in California, but you obtained the opportunity to head to IMG. How did that work out, JJ? How did you hear about IMG, or how did they see you, and how did that process work out for you to go there?
So basically, like growing up, I was kind of a club hopper. So I did go from club to club a bit, and then COVID hit, so I had to find a team and everything. And my family and I were searching because we've been to most of the clubs within San Diego or even Southern California. And basically, I was making private video sessions with my goalkeeper coach, and we put out a video, I believe, on it was NCSA, it might have been. And I think that's how IMG saw me, and then I was discovered by them. And we got in contact with them, but it was the year of COVID, so I did not end up going because just things didn't end up working out.
Right.
So then a year or so later, my dad reached out back to them and see if there was still a position for me out there, and it ended up working out. So I ended up going out there.
I love that. And you talked about, hopping from club to club. Was a lot of that really just finding that good fit, that club that was going to push you and help get you to that next level? Is that what a lot of that was?
Yes, it was that, because of the fact that, like, just youth soccer, it's hard to find like coaches and like a team that just has the same like values and also values you as a player. So it was a lot of searching for that within a club, and yeah, that's how I ended up in IMG's environment.
Yeah, and that's great, because I know a lot of times it's with you saying that, I know, and I've talked to a lot of kids that go through that same thing. It's a lot of times of finding that right fit, and what's that, club or school that's going to help get you seen. And of course, being able to, get recruited to IMG, right? You did the right thing of getting them film and letting them see you, but they had to be impressed enough to contact you, right? And say, yes, we are interested. And that in itself is a great atmosphere. And for those of you who don't know, of course, JJ did, play along with Leah Varela, who's also ID My Athlete. Talking about IMG and then heading off into that atmosphere. Like you said, you weren't able to go right off the bat, but going into IMG, you were able to head into a program that was just coming off of playing in the GAL National Championship game in North Carolina. And then, you being able to come in that fall and join this group of, ladies and, who, had done so well. What was it like stepping in with, a team that, had a lot of top talent from throughout the country, and you just adding and making it stronger? What was it like, of course, being away from home, but then joining a team like this?
At first, I mean, it was obviously scary moving across the country from my family at the age of 15.
Yeah.
So, I was really like nervous about whether I would even live up to everyone's standard because of the fact that all the girls around me were amazing. But it really did push me to become a better player being in that type of environment because not no one had like everyone in that environment just was willing to push each other constantly.
Yeah.
So it just made me even better out there. And of course, with them having the standard of wanting to win and everything, that just made it even more fun to play.
Right. And like you said, early, coming from California where, I mean, club soccer in itself is, very good. And to head clear across the country, like you said, as a 15-year-old, just kind of, I mean, I guess COVID was still going, right? But there was
Mm-hmm.
some things, but, to be able to head off as a 15-year-old across the country, join a group of girls that, you have to learn, you're not sure where you fit initially, and, just from my point of view and being able to watch you and those times we could watch games, see you really step in seamlessly. I mean, I know it looks from our end when you kind of watch and you see everything going, but, I think it takes a special type of person to be an athlete to be able to do that. So, and one of the things, JJ, is obviously, you came into a team that had a goalie. I mean, they had a couple, I think they had some issues, but they had a main goalie. So with you, and this is with any team as a goalie, right? There's one or two goalies. So, what was it like really being able to, kind of have to share that time and be able to find that balance where, I'm not sure exactly which games I'm going to play, but I'm going to need to show what does that do to you and having to face that?
I mean, I growing up, whatever, I used to play up, so I was always like kind of coming in as the younger person, and the person was like more so like this is mine. And I feel like me and Hicks, we had a relationship where we both were so competitive in the just like the whole practice game environment. Like we both wanted to play, but we also had a very friendly relationship where we understood that this is honestly like on the field, yes, it's a competition, but off the field we could have a good relationship, which I've never had with any other goalkeeper. So, I mean, obviously, like the coaches were good at communicating when we were going to play and who was going to do this and that, and wasn't like one person was above the other the whole entire
Right.
time. And so I think that it was honestly the best environment for me as a goalkeeper just to have the competition, but also have like the where it's like friendly and just
Yeah.
equal, you know? Yeah.
Right. And the competition with each other. And that's what I think I love the most about what you're saying. And I think a lot of times with athletes, right, you never know at whatever point, right? You may start your whole club career, but then when you head into college, you kind of either have to step back, or, you just never know at what point something like this happens. And the key thing that, like I said, once again, that I love is that it sounds like you both really utilize this opportunity to once again help each other improve and make each other better through that, competition with each other, but knowing, hey, whether it's yourself or whether it's Hicks stepping in that box, we're a team, and we're going to do whatever it takes to help IMG win. And, I think that's a lot of times what people don't really see and know that, once again, it's a group of young ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, there's a bunch of sports at IMG, but in your case, in your team, who are coming from all over the country and having to sometimes, share that role with somebody on the field. But what do you do to kind of make yourself better? So, no, thank you for sharing that, because I just always want, other athletes who watch this to know that it's all about your mentality. How do you go in? Do you sulk that, I'm not starting all the time, or do you take it as a way to grow? And you obviously grew in that. So, kind of moving on with that, JJ, obviously, IMG, last year, made it back to the finals. Very successful team for the 2 years you were there. if I'm not mistaken, and I don't have the stats completely, but under when you were in goal, as well, you did have a lot of clean sheets, which for those who don't know or listen, clean sheets means no goal scored on you as a goalie. And of course, being in the back in the net, you're not only charged with stopping shots, but you're charged with making sure your defense and everybody's doing what they do. What would you say, JJ, that IMG really taught you over the last 2 years that you really kind of didn't have? Obviously you're young, right, coming in, but what did you take from IMG during your time there?
One big takeaway I took is that, like, on the field as a goalkeeper, just to be a leader no matter what, or like who it is, because like I feel like younger me, like as a goalkeeper, just growing up, I was very timid back there to communicate with certain girls because I didn't know what they would think or say. But
Right.
the girls on the team just really made it like, just communicate with me, and honestly, like I'll take it how it is, you know? And so
Right.
I like going into an environment where it's new people and them just telling you right off the bat, like, I just want you to communicate with me and lead me back there. It's just like, so that's one big takeaway that I took, like just communicate. And I mean, you're doing your job by communicating, and it will make your job easier if you do communicate. So that's one thing I did take
Right.
away.
And that's probably one of the biggest things you can take away, because especially like you said, as a goalkeeper, communication and being able to communicate with your teammates and be a leader. I mean, talk about having that opportunity to do that. And even like you said, though, it's not always the easiest thing, just depending on who you're talking to or what, but knowing, hey, this is my job. This is what I have to do. There's no, if I get on you, it's not because I don't like you. It's because it's how we're making each other better. And I know, once again, being somebody on the outside who got to watch a lot of these games, that's a lot of what I saw out of you and a lot of these girls, cause I know it's, once again, and I've said this in other podcasts with some of the other, young ladies that I've spoken to out of IMG is, once again, I don't think anybody really understood. They think, oh, you all just come on over to this school and you're just this good team. It takes a lot. It's not always an easy. You're like a bunch of sisters living together and seeing each other all the time. It's not always roses, but you have to find that way to find the balance, right? Is that an honest assessment of kind of how other challenges kind of come about when you're being at a school like that?
Yes, of course, because living with each other, like especially for a long time, like a whole entire school year is very long. So seeing each other day in, day out, spending your basically your whole entire day with each other because you go to school, you eat lunch probably together, and then after school, it's just it's a lot of hanging around each other. So it does really build bonds, but it can also be a little tough when you want a little space. But besides that, it's really fun. And I honestly think that's what made our team better, is just that chemistry that we had because of the fact that we were around each other so much.
I agree. I agree 100% because you would just see it, and it's every time you all stepped on the field, it was you against the world. I've said that before as well, because it was, whether you're listening to the fans on the other side or the team, no matter what type of team you all played, they were coming for IMG. To have that ability to say we beat IMG was it's honest truth. It was their pinnacle of some of their seasons. And so you all had to be on at all times. And in sports, that's not going to always happen, but you were a very successful team and you made it far. You made it into the playoffs and finished off in the playoffs in New Jersey. And then, of course, that means your time at IMG was done and you had to, head back across the country. And now you're back in California, right? How has that transition been for you? Now you're a senior. So now you're transitioning back to going to a high school. You're playing club soccer. How has that transition been for you?
It's been something. It's definitely been something that I had to work a little harder than I thought I would to get back into a normal type of lifestyle, I guess you could say. Um, it's I don't know. I like it a lot. It's different than what I've been experiencing for the past 2 years, and then my freshman year was COVID, so that's wasn't even normal itself.
Mm.
So therefore, it's been fun. I've been working at a different rate, but I'd still been working hard. So I like it.
That's great. And I mean, and that's the thing, that once again, and, kind of referencing back to Leah Varela, who kind of finished up at the same time you did. And, being able to have that challenge of coming home. Right. And it's two things. You got the sports difference, and then you just have the life difference, coming back to parents, coming back to daily things where, the freedoms might not be there. But, I think the key thing, and, as we kind of transition, in what we're talking about now to your next, step, after high school, what'll be coming up. But those are the things that obviously, and you can hear it from you, that you've learned and that will really help you, I think, as you move to that next level, because not a lot of athletes have that opportunity to go away and know what it's like to almost live in the college atmosphere. And then, they go straight from home there, and it's like, do I miss my family? Wow, I really miss home. Now I'm having to play and do that. So you kind of have that under your belt already, which is great. And kind of talking about that, obviously, the recruitment process, being at IMG, obviously, I would think, presented you some opportunities with schools that you might not have seen out of California, right? But it maybe opened some doors. And, just within the last few months, you've made the decision to commit to Lamar University, the Lamar University Cardinals. Tell me about that. Tell me about what the recruitment process, how that felt for you. Give me that honest assessment. And then what it was like, what it was about Lamar University that you said, I belong there.
If in all honesty, the recruitment process was very stressful. I think it was stressful for me. It was stressful for my family, like my parents. But it was longer than I thought it was going to be, because as being at IMG, all the girls were just committing left and right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was mentally tough there, because seeing everyone just be there and stuff, and then me like kind of later into going into my senior year, actually in the beginning of my senior year committing. And even though that isn't necessarily like a long time for some people, like my goal was to have it before then. But even then, like, I'm so glad that I waited and was patient to the point where I was. But yeah, it was really tough. I did a lot of reaching out. I had to get out of my comfort zone a little bit with the recruiting and everything, because I'm not necessarily the person. I thought, oh, they're supposed to come to me if they really want me, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like that at all. So I did have to start reaching out to places that I could potentially see myself at. Um, yeah, so that's really that. And then with Lamar and them, I knew that I would like love to be there, because the coaches and everything, they just give such a family oriented atmosphere. And they, like, how I knew like I really wanted to be there was when they had a call with my parents and stuff, how the coaches were just nice to them and giving off this really great energy. And I just feel like with soccer in general, I've always been like, I need to like my coaches. I need to know my coaches are for me. And so I just could tell that they were going to be for me in the long run. And yeah, I just, and also the fact that it's in Texas, I have family in Texas. So it's not too far from California. There's a lot of upsides of it, and they didn't have a bad record at all either. So yeah, that's how I just knew Lamar's for me.
I love that answer, JJ. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better answer than that, because I think the main thing that I think a lot of times athletes forget, and you hit, I think, the number one issue that most athletes have when committing, or the recruitment process in general, is having to pay attention to others around you committing and doing. And, everybody has their own speed. And I think you've probably learned that more than anybody, because especially going to an IMG, like you said, where you're seeing all these commitments happen, and you're like, I'm sure in your mind you're like, is there something wrong with me? Am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I not? And so I can imagine the frustration that probably was there with you. Like you said, do I belong? Do I not? Where, well, of course, watching you play, that's not even close. But for you to even see after the fact that things happen for a reason,
Hmm.
and for me to find a solid soccer program like Lamar, where once again, like you said, family feel, it checked a box for you. That was a thing that was important to you, and you have family there. It's a little closer than Florida for other family, for your parents and your brother to come watch and different things. And I think I ask these type of questions because I want athletes who are going through the same thing that you're going through or went through to know it's okay. It's, you do not have to base your recruitment process off of everybody else, and sometimes it happens. Kids recruit so quick and maybe it wasn't the best place for them and they find out quick, and it's like, wow, I might have been sold a bill of goods or, whatever that is. But I mean, it's a great story, and hearing, Lamar right now, Southland Conference, 10-2-1, right? Coming off a couple few games back off of a huge 1-0 victory off of a, Xavier, number 17 ranked team. I mean, you're stepping in, JJ, to a team that's rocking and rolling right now, and that's got to be a good feeling.
Hmm.
What do you hope when it's time for you to step on that field as a freshman? What do you hope to bring to Lamar, to the Lamar Cardinals?
Well, I just hope to bring like my whole presence as a goalkeeper. Like I just hope to like, you know, just show people, this is what I've been working for my whole entire like youth soccer career, and that I can finally do the things that some people have doubted, or even the things that I at some point doubted. So, yeah, just bring a different type of presence onto the field and make a change back there slightly or like totally for the team. That's
Yeah, and like I said, when you made the announcement, and I know we got some posts for you, but it's, to me, I mean, it's true. They are getting a very solid goalkeeper, but a very good person. And I think that's the best part, is that, knowing you from afar, I'm saying, being able to watch you over the last couple years and getting to know your family, and the background you come up with, and everything, it's always exciting to me when I see our athletes commit and find the place they love and know, wow, I cannot wait to follow Lamar during the season so I can see how you're doing. And that's what I do. I watch so much college soccer, basketball, everything right now, on top of the high school stuff, following the athletes, because I think there's a real genuine excitement of being able to see where you go and how you do. And, and even as a freshman, you already have that experience of being on a campus and living away from home. And, how do you think that your IMG experience is going to help you with that transition from, into college?
well, obviously, like you already said, like just living in a dorm and everything, like that's a whole different experience than having your own bed and not having it be twin size or whatever, and not the most comfortable at times either. Um, and just like sharing a room with someone else, that's a whole different thing because you have to learn how to be mindful of someone else's space because it's now both of your guys's and everything, and just and then also not only that, like the family aspect, like family being farther away, like you're not able to go downstairs and go talk to your parents. Like you have to call them and like pick up the phone and know how to communicate with them just as much as you would probably, but from afar, and just keep those relationships intact and everything. And then only that, but like push yourself, like learn how to push yourself because of the fact that no one's really there to get on you. Like your parents are going to be there to like just be like, you have to do this, that, and that. And it's just like, you have to learn how to become your own biggest like advocate and everything like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, you had to pretty much become an adult at a much quicker pace than anybody really has to, and I guarantee you, and it's something that I've heard from other college coaches of different sports and things, as related to IMG, youth that athletes that come out of IMG, is that it's that leg up in a sense of already going through the trials and tribulations of being away from home, having to do schoolwork while traveling, and getting in at 2 a.m. and heading to class the next morning, or catching up, and those are things that you already have under your belt. And that's why I continue to say, Lamar is getting themselves a really good person, but a good athlete as well under their belt, because you've been through that and done that. So yeah, very excited for you. And I know you still, obviously you're in your senior year, but it's going to come quick next, before you know it, spring is almost here, and then you got summer, and then you're headed off. So that's going to be great. And right now, as we kind of get to the end, JJ, one of the last things I really wanted to cover with you is, we talk about, we've been kind of a theme of this too, is, heading off to Florida, coming back, going through the recruitment process. And like you said, one of the big things for you is family. And, having that support. Obviously, like you said, you've had to go through situations where you've had to come out of your box and say, I can no longer be shy or do this or that. What do I need to do to get ahead? And after meeting your family, getting to know them, what have they meant to you during this whole process, from moving to Florida, coming back, and then, getting yourself committed to Lamar? How have they impacted you?
Biggest like support, and also just like, even when I was down about like not necessarily being where I wanted to be at times, they were the ones who told me like, this is what's meant to happen. And like, even though it's not happening the way you want it to, push 10 times as hard. So even with being farther away from them, they still did drive me and make me realize that I have goals and I have places I want to be and everything. And they really brought me up even from how far they were. Um, so just like my parents, they obviously, putting me out there is not very much like a small thing for them either. So just staying there for me, even though like that I should be there for them for sometimes, because like obviously their daughter's not there when they want to see her or something. It's just, yeah, that they meant a lot to me throughout this whole entire thing, because they were so happy to for me when I committed and everything. It was just like a whole big excitement, and it was a big like thing off our shoulders. And I don't know, yeah, they're my biggest support system.
That's the best thing. And I like I said, getting to know your family, and everything, that it was very exciting for me as well when I got that call that she committed. It was great. And I've personally seen that through the whole journey of where you were there, and being able to, like I said, meet your family, talk to them, often, in helping, how can we help you get what you need, and, everything as you move through the process, and just a very good family, and the support, and just you knowing that they had your back the whole time. And that, once again, you kind of hit it with one of the things you said, of that things happen for a reason. I think that's the hardest thing for athletes to really understand, because sometimes things just don't happen when you think they're going to happen. And for your parents to really have your back with saying that, like, we're not just saying that because we're your parents, we've been there, we've done that. And yeah, so it's really good. And I think they'll love to hear that from you, just because I know a lot of times, you say it, but it's a little different when you're saying it outside of, away from them. So I know that'll mean a lot to them. So, JJ, once again, we were so excited that we were, going to be able to do this podcast with you. And, it's, as you move forward, like we said, everybody, she's a senior right now. She's back in California. Like you said, told me earlier, right now you're attending Olympian High School, right, in Chula Vista, California. She's playing club soccer, back into club soccer for a year with the Del Mar Sharks, ECNL. So now you're jumping from GAL to ECNL, which means there's no let up there. You're back in Southern California, right? And it's you went to an even just as tough an atmosphere, if even tougher, heading back out west. So we'll definitely be following you, JJ, and making sure that we can continue to keep people aware of what you're doing. And then as you are getting ready to head off to Lamar, within the next 9, 10, 11, within the next year, a little under a year, we'll be there with you. JJ, is there anything you want to leave us with? Is there anything you didn't get to say or we didn't ask that you want to kind of finish up with?
Thank you for having me. I don't really have anything else to say.
No, that's fine. And you did great. You did great, JJ. This was great. And, once again, everybody, we have Jaliyah Clark, call her JJ. She's a senior. She's committed to Lamar University, the Cardinals. And JJ, thank you once again for joining us. Very excited to follow you. Like we said, we're definitely going to follow, see what you, how you succeed at the next level. And we look forward to talking to you soon. As a matter of fact, when you do get to Lamar, I want to visit with you again so we can kind of know how that experience is going for you. Okay. Does that sound like a deal?
Good.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you again for joining us, and stay tuned for some of our future podcasts. Thank you.